And we're back. Another weekend, only to make this world a little bit better with some of our nonsense. So here we are, Athletics LLC. Welcome one, welcome all. We are missing a tile tonight. Sir Lucius is dealing with a little bit of a headache. And I feel like with Mr. First World Problems, it's a big headache. Or maybe it's just small because it's the first world problem. So anyhow, we hope he gets better and we'll see him next week. But as always, welcome to the Tiles. Clyde, how are we tonight, sir?
Hotel Wi-Fi is trash.
And it's track season.
Yep.
I can't even stop giggling because of how many times it's going to happen going throughout the year. It's only January. We have all the way till June.
Yep.
Can't wait for the summer. Governor, how are you tonight? Oh, just kidding. That's right. Oh yeah, mark that. Everybody note. He is in, where are you at again?
Annapolis, Maryland. We competed
go.
Navy this weekend.
Let's go.
So don't trust on the Wi-Fi at Annapolis. Maybe that's a security thing.
Maybe.
The government is downloading all of your files
as you speak.
Hey, they can get nothing out of me.
slowly with the bad Wi-Fi.
Oh, Governor, how are you tonight, sir?
If I told you, I'd have to kill you.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
I'll just leave it at that. Yeah. I'm ready to get the show on though. I'm ready.
Yes.
I'm ready.
Well, last but not least, Lamariano Rivera. You're so clever, sir. So clever.
I try. I mean, it's almost baseball season.
I mean,
It's time.
more importantly, it's track season.
It's time to bring in the closer.
Well, to the things that actually matter. Just kidding. I lie. But do I? Well, let's get the fun part out of the way so Clyde can have some fun. NFL predictions. And I'd like to say this out loud to you, Clyde. I actually got a message that our friend, the governor, not by the governor, by somebody else, that the governor got it all right. And I just giggled. So Clyde, the door is open for you to walk through and raise them up.
Look, I mean, listen, I don't really have a big problem with my biggest problem with the NFL and the predictions from last week is the San Diego meltdown. Like I was thoroughly irritated with the San Diego meltdown. There's no way in hell they should have lost that game. It was going to be perfect for me otherwise until Monday night. So I'm very irritated with the San Diego debacle. Listen, I do not enjoy Cowboy Nation, but as have been stated before, the governor is not a part of that nation in the way that the delusional idiots usually are. So I'm not here to disrespect the governor. Congrats, sir. Dallas played about as perfect as they could have played. Dak played an excellent game. The better team won. They should have won. They're not playing the Buccaneers this weekend. So it is what it is. I was blown away. I was blown away by like how ridiculously bad the Buccaneers defense was. Like there were human beings running wide open. Like 15 yards wide open. They were confused. And I don't know who number 32 is, but he was getting targeted from snap one. Every time there was a pass completed, number 32 was in the vicinity. I don't know. Todd Bowles is supposed to be a defensive guy. The defense was trash. So congrats. Enjoy your week. It all ends very soon.
Oh gosh. You want me to go next?
Yes.
Okay. You sure about that?
The governor should get the most time. He deserves his moment.
Oh man.
Well, I will say that I think every year that we are in existence, NFL playoffs, wild card week just delivers year after year after year. I mean, I can't say anyone saw San Diego losing that game. But you got that feeling, that sinking feeling. I can only imagine how badly it must have gone for those San Diego fans to watch the Jags just go up and down the field for an entire half, and they could not stop them. It was just like, what are we doing here? It was a scrimmage. It was unbelievable. And you know, if you were to tell someone, hey, this team in the playoffs was up 27-0 and lost a game, you would think, yeah, bunch of chunk plays, you know, fumble recoveries, pick six, no. Quite literally, the Jaguars got the ball from a kickoff and just marched down the field. And then they stopped the Chargers, and then they marched down the field. It was like, this is unbelievable. It was really amazing to watch.
Justin Herbert wasn't out there throwing picks. He wasn't out there
true. This is what's
like, it
amazing
wasn't his
about this.
fault.
So yeah, but you know, I think everything else, you know, the Bengals, did they run out of gas? To think about how close the Ravens were to winning that game, I mean, it's pretty shocking. I mean, you would have thought that the Bengals would have dispatched them early on, but you know, you get a sense of what happens when these teams play each other over and over and over again. They will find ways to win these games. As for the Cowboys game, by the way, did you know that was the most watched playoff game in history?
Oh, they said
Really?
that way. I'm not
30
surprised at all.
30.6 million people tuned in to watch that game. Okay.
I'll tell you this. I know a Cowboys fan who didn't even know when the game was. True story.
Wow.
True story. I was
Wow.
like, get out.
Yeah. So that was I mean, as I said, and I don't know if anyone has gone back to look in the group chat, but what was my quote? Do you remember what I said?
No.
And I used Clyde's reference in the quote. I said that Dak Prescott would have one less interception than John
Justin
Wayne.
Herbert. Or the John Wayne, yes.
That's what I said. And sure enough, when he's backpedaling, trying to get the ball out of the end zone, he throws a pick, and I'm going, this is destiny. This is destiny.
You were the winner of the Mega Millions, weren't you?
I'm saying
You were the winner of the Mega
sometimes you
Millions.
just get it right, okay? But outside of all of that, nothing gave me more pleasure than Monday morning on First Take to watch the biggest hater in Cowboys history have to eat crow. I mean, and they let him have it. Oh, they let him have it. Oh, it was fun. It's been a fun couple days. He went on the air and said, yep, well, enjoy it for 4 more days. And I said, all right.
I will.
We shall see. Because I don't think this is going to be a blowout by any stretch of the imagination. I think this is going to be a very, very equal game. I expect the team that has the ball at the end of like the last drive, that's who's going to win.
Yeah. No.
That's my prediction.
You know, I because I'm not a college coach, I can do these things. I was in a betting pool with 42 people. I got the first 5 games right. Yes, I picked Jacksonville, and yes, I picked the Giants. Even worse, the tiebreaker for the game was total points. I have 44. 45 points were scored.
He did not win the Mega Millions.
I did not win the Mega Millions because, there used to be 3 things you could depend on: death, taxes, and Tom Brady
Yes.
not throwing an interception in the end zone. Now there's back to 2.
Yep.
And I was like, this is karma. I've never been a Tom Brady fan. I completely respect him. So, but I've never been a Tom Brady fan. And we all know how I feel about the Cowboys.
Mm-hmm.
So with almost $1,000 coming my way, ain't no way that the football karma gods are like, nah, we can't let this happen. He'll be unbearable, which I would.
Yes,
I would that certainly
I'm
be.
sure, I'm
So,
sure.
like, it's okay. We live to fight another week. My G-men are doing their jobs. I don't like the fact that there are actually people out there picking the Giants to beat the Eagles. See, no. We need to stay in anonymity in the corner because we have the talentless roster and the best coaches, and we're just going to try and play hard and see if we can win. I'm good there. I don't need nobody to pick
Hang on 1
us.
second. Let me check my picks real quick. I'm gonna stay quiet.
We are gonna get into these picks.
Oh,
yes, we have
as
to.
a matter of fact, I'm gonna pick first in just a second. But this past weekend was a lot. Listen, this was even for a wild card weekend, this was amazing.
Yeah, it was.
There was some high quality football to watch.
Absolutely.
I was confused why the Ravens were attempting to beat the Bengals, but it was entertaining to watch. I was perplexed by the ghost of Tom Brady, but it was at least entertaining to watch. It was weird to watch it, and I didn't know what I was watching. I had to remind my wife that next week the Cowboys get to play football again because she hasn't seen them play football the second week in the playoffs, but since she was 5.
15 years. 15 years.
What you were watching was incompetence.
Yeah, all of it was bad.
I don't care how the GOAT is. He's 45. They asked that man to throw the ball 70 times.
I mean,
that's stupid.
Yeah.
The joke was made in my house watching the game that Tom Brady's going to have Tommy John surgery from the number of passes he threw in that game.
They said you're going to go out. If you're going to go out of this sport, we're taking your arm. We're going to just take your arm and just
empty the tank.
I mean, that's how he would have to leave the sport at this point.
He'll be back in.
All right, so we got 4 games to pick this weekend, right?
Mm-hmm. So
okay,
it's Jags.
I'll go
the best round of the playoff.
I'll go first. It's real easy. I'm going chalk. All 4 home teams. I picked the Eagles over my Giants, as painful as that is. I picked the Chiefs. I picked the Bills, and I picked the 49ers.
A good pick.
Those are my picks for the week. I stand by it. I don't like the fact that it's chalk. I don't like the fact that they're all home, that they're all the home team, but that's who I think is going to win the games.
Okay. Sue, are you gonna make picks this time? You gonna punk out again?
I mean, I didn't punk out. I only made the pick that mattered.
Oh, no,
I was gonna say she's gonna pick the 49ers again, and that's it. That's all we're gonna get from her.
You make all the picks, Sue. All 4 games.
Okay. Well, I mean, down the line, it's the same. For poops and giggles. I mean, you can't. There isn't really a poops and giggles.
Nope.
Okay, I don't want to say when. If you try to give any other final result, it's going to be that it would never happen again type thing. So I got to go to the same Chiefs, Eagles, Bills, Niners. It's boring, but I can't see it any other way. I really can't.
All right. So we'll let the governor close because we all know he's coming with shenanigans. Listen, I can't remember the last time chalk, as we call it, emerged from the divisional round.
I know.
So there's no way I'm picking chalk. The question is, who's most likely to lose? There's no way in hell Dallas is coming into the Bay Area and beating the 49ers.
Heck to the nah.
That's not a thing. They're on paper the best game, and for me the most interesting game is Cincinnati traveling to Buffalo, given the context of the DeMar Hamlin situation and the game that never got played, right?
No question, that's the best game of the weekend.
I think for so many reasons, Buffalo wins the game, even though I consider Cincinnati to be the most complete team in the playoffs. I just, maybe if the game was in Cincinnati like the original game was supposed to be, I'd pick Cincinnati, but there's a lot going on there. I just don't see Buffalo losing that game somehow. Which brings us to the other two games. I'm sorry, Lamar.
We already know he's not going to pick the Chiefs because he wants to believe this narrative.
No.
It's okay.
I wasn't even on that. I was saying I'm sorry to you because I know you're rooting for the Giants, and I know, subconsciously you're like, if more people pick the Giants, they're less likely to win. But correct me if I'm wrong, Lane Johnson is not playing for the Eagles.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the Giants are going to win the game. I know we're not going to win the game.
Now we are officially not going to now.
I think.
Listen, the one thing I know we legitimately have going for us is it's very difficult to beat a conference foe 3 times in the same year.
That too. That okay. There's that part of it. If always every year, right? It's who's the hot teams at the time that do well. The Giants are hot. They lost to the Eagles twice during the regular season, and they have a better coach. Brian Daboll is a better coach.
Brian Daboll is the best coach in the NFL.
Ooh. So I that's a bold statement. I like it.
Does anybody want to bet that he's going to win Coach of the Year?
As he should.
So right now, today, he's the best coach in the NFL because ain't nobody else getting that roster into the playoffs.
So yeah, I'm going Giants. Now, no, I'm not going to pick the Chiefs to lose to Jacksonville.
Okay, good. Just making sure.
I'm not going to pick that. But I mean, which version of Trevor Lawrence and the crew am I going to get? Because the Chiefs defense isn't all that great either. So
I mean, the game's on Saturday, right? I mean, Trevor Lawrence has never lost a game on Saturday in his whole life.
Hey, well, I don't know what that means here, but if I get the second half version of Trevor Lawrence, I think Jacksonville can make the game interesting because the Chiefs defense isn't any good. They're just not. Now, do I think Mahomes is going to lose that game? No. I don't know. Mahomes and the crew go down the next week. But this week, no, they're good.
Not happening. Well, we'll get to that next week.
Sure.
Well, I don't know if there's any way to say this. The Cowboys are going to beat the 49ers this weekend.
Oh my gosh.
Just tell us how.
So wait, if this doesn't happen, can we change your name on the show for a month to the Court Jester?
Hey, whatever.
Just tell us how, though. Because listen, it was fun. It was fun to do the Tampa Bay thing, but everybody with a brain understood that the Cowboys were the better team this year. They're not better than San Francisco.
I didn't say that. I didn't
So
say that.
what is the path to winning this game? That gonna play another perfect game against an actual defense this time?
No. I believe that Mr. Purdy is going to see a defense that he hasn't seen, I don't know, since he started playing.
That is so cute that you think that. You
I'm-
think Brock
that's-
Purdy actually is going to get the opportunity to think?
I think Brock Purdy is going to have some challenges this weekend.
I think
I
Brock
think
Purdy is going to be a
number
robot
11
this
is
weekend.
going to break through the line 4 or 5 times and scare the bejesus out of Mr. Purdy.
He's going to run this way, and number 23 is going to run this way with the football.
Okay. I'm sure they're game planning for it. But what I'm telling you is that Mr. Purdy is not going to beat the Cowboys. So,
I mean, the Cowboys will beat the Cowboys, but
all right. Okay.
This is good.
I
This is good.
said what I said.
He
Okay.
did. He said it with his chest, no less.
I didn't say it's not going to be decisive. It's not going to be this blowout, whatever. I'm telling you, it's going to come down to the last possession. And, you know, what are the odds that Dak Prescott exercises the demons of last year? What are the odds? You know, to
0?
execute a last, 3 minutes, drives the Cowboys down to kick the winning field goal. What are the odds, right? So I've washed my hands of that.
At least the 49ers fans
I will
won't throw
let-
trash
I will
on
let
the
that
on the
hang
Cowboy
out there
quarterback
and-
like the Cowboys fans did.
Okay. Look, you have to understand my Super Bowl aspirations, all of that have been satisfied. We won a playoff game. I'm good. I have
nothing like low standards in life. Nothing like low standards.
Hey,
The court jester is in session.
yes,
Okay.
my man is playing with house money. He's good.
There you go. The Chiefs will win. I'm just going to leave that at that. The Giants will beat the Eagles,
Oh,
and the Bengals will beat the Bills.
oh my
So-
Lord.
Again, there you have it.
He going all anti-chop.
One home team will win their game.
The Chiefs. Interesting. This
Yes.
is I like this. This is fun. Shu, you have to pick now.
I did.
Yeah, she picked chalk.
Oh, that's right. You picked what I picked.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, then you're gonna get it right.
Oh my gosh.
I said
right.
what I said.
He did.
It's-
I like it.
It's noted. It's noted. And right now, people are looking at their screens like WTF.
Yep.
The name of this episode is gonna be I Said What I Said.
I said what
Okay.
I said.
All right. Well, as we say what we say. So we've talked about indoor facilities in the past and different aspects of it and why some people despise the indoor season but actually utilize it, and some people just think it's the world championships all on its own. But with the different facilities that are out there, with the different access to the facilities out there, and the different just modes of indoor competitions, we'll call it that, is the descending list method really fair? So I
No.
know I've
No, it's
had this
not
conversation in different aspects. So let's see what comes out.
No, it's not fair, and it's not fair for the exact same reason and the exact same principles that the outdoor descending order list was ultimately done away with. It's about access, money, resources. Very rarely is it about the performances. And in some events, you can straight up know that if you don't have access to certain facilities, you're not going to qualify. So, I understand that people don't like to hear this, and I get it. I like indoor. Indoor is an awesome part of the year. The weather's always great. It's loud. It's intimate. I like indoor, but at the end of the day, indoor needs a regional, just like outdoor needed a regional. Is it complicated? Not that really. Is it irritating to think about? Sure, whatever. But if you want to have a legitimate, situation where people have to like line up and beat people to qualify, not just have the resources to go to, the favorite place to jump or the favorite place to sprint and do what you do. It kind of is what it is. The one thing I love about indoor, the one thing that is super unique to how we do it is that the indoor NCAA championship is literally the hardest meet on the planet to qualify for.
Yep. That's why we love it.
And there's something very, the eliteness, if that's even a word, of that setup is amazing. But it's also the ultimate first world problems meet. Because if you don't have the access, you ain't getting in there most of the time. And that's just the way it is. And that plays across events. Like when we talk about this, people's minds usually goes to 200, 400, 4x4s and the bank track issue. And that's true in those events. But it's also specific to horizontal jumps. It's also specific to where your DMRs are set up, right? It plays. And any given year, you can look at the consistency of the marks and who qualifies and see it plain as day. So yeah, no, it's not fair.
All right, well, good. I wanted to go second. Now I definitely am glad I'm going second. So first off, this is 100% only about 3 events: the 200, the 400, and the 4x4. It is not about any other event, and any other chicanery that is brought to this conversation in contrary to that is absolute BS, because this is only about 3 events: the 2, the 4, and the 4x4, because you can qualify for every other event, almost every other place in this country. You can qualify, and I mean legitimately. I have seen people jump super duper far on flat tracks. I've seen people jump super duper far on bank tracks. You have to have access to get to something more than once. 100%, we all agree with that. But I want to focus on the thing that really matters, right? Is that it's 3 events, but those 3 events are so high profile to us, and they're so important in our sprint pantheon, right? That there's no question, without access, multiple times, you are not getting somebody qualified for the national meet in the 200. You are not getting somebody qualified for the national meet in the 400. And you are almost certainly not going to qualify for nationals in the 4x4 unless you are on one of roughly 5 tracks, something of that nature. But this is what I find interesting. And I think that even Clyde will find this tact very interesting. At every level, it's about these same events, in particular the 2 and the 4. The 200 is so bastardized that from a world athletic standpoint, they don't even run it indoors anymore at world championships, right? But how weird is it that at the world championship level, they use lane 1 through 6 in the 4 and the 4x4?
It's right? A mockery.
Because we would never do that in this country, right? Like lane 1 indoors is worse than lane 1 outdoors, right? And you know what I'm saying? And like everybody thinks lane 1 outdoors is like, oh my God, don't do that. Lane 1 indoors is legitimately like a problem. You can't run there. And so what I find very interesting is that I'm not sure that anybody really even knows what to do with this dilemma. It is obvious that the 200 is the most affected event by what track you run on. That's obvious, right? And so at the end of the day, if you're trying to qualify somebody for the 200, you have some people that are good enough to try and be top 16 in the country, then it behooves you to get them to one of those 5 tracks multiple times, because that's the only way they're going to get there. Almost exactly the same scenario in the 400. Now, the 4x4, you get away with it a little bit different because all the 300-meter tracks then become playable, because you can do it over, however many, 5 1/4 lap, 5 1/3 laps. You can still run fast enough to get in. But I've always found it interesting that like there's always this conversation about the fairness. It's like there are Division I, Division II, Division III. There's Power Five, mid-major, Group of Five. There's all these different stipulations in schools, like because the world isn't fair. I mean, I'm like, athletics is Darwinistic, and so at the end of the day, it's not fair to not be able to go to UW and be in races that have rabbits, right? Just like it's not fair to not be able to go to Clemson and be in lane 5. So at the end of the day, there is, I don't know how to say this, there's almost like a fair unfairness to this whole thing, right? Like, it's better, like the tracks that you need to be on mile 3K, 5K are not necessarily the same tracks you need to be on for the 2 and the 4. Right. So at the end of the day, if you're trying to qualify your whole team, you got to go all over the place multiple times.
And the people with money do.
And right. And so what that tells you is, first of all, nobody wants to hear this, but indoor track is a privilege. Right. Everybody is not trying to kill it to run indoor track. So at the end of the day, like, you have to know what program you're at. You have to know what's important to your administration. And then you have to go wholeheartedly at that. And that's just kind of what it is. Just simply my opinion. But yes, I mean, I don't think that anybody could ever argue that there's a fair and equitable opportunity for all student athletes at the Division I level to qualify in the 200 and the 400 and the 4x4. There is not now, nor has there ever been.
I'm just doing some math. So I had originally planned to go back 5 years to see the disparity between the Power 5 and non-Power 5. And I was going to pick out the 60, the 200, the 400, the long jump, and the triple jump. I was just going to pick 5 events and go with that. So let's look at last year. Okay. Long jump men. Guess how many Power 5 schools made the long jump list? Top 16.
I'm gonna say 9.
15.
14.
Oh, 15 out of 16?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
I was giving the small guy some hope in that one.
Yes, me too. Me too.
Let's go to the women. Guess how many women's Power 5 schools made the long jump list?
14 out of 16.
16.
13. Okay. Let's go to triple. Guess how many Power 5 teams made the men's triple squad, made the list? 13. Guess how many women's teams?
14.
16.
14.
Yes,
14.
got one right.
So small snapshot. And really what I'm getting at, every single thing that Lamar and Clyde said is absolutely true. Here is a part that is almost, it's impenetrable. If I had to use a word, the word is impenetrable. And what I mean by that is, it's one thing to get access to the facilities. It's another thing to get access to the facilities and the teams. And because where are we at right now? We're in a world now where the SEC literally has the SEC relays, right?
Mhm.
And they have now created their own thing to rival Penn relays, right? And we can go on and on about that. Indoors, that is happening every single week, right? And what non-Power 5 schools are finding out is that unless you are of a certain stature, you're not going to get invited to certain meets. You're not. Okay. So all I'm saying is this: from an intensity standpoint, from a just going up head to head with the very best, the opportunities are thin and thinner and thinner and few and far between. Okay. And as by my count, let's just take this year, for example. It just so happens that the NCAA championships will be at New Mexico. New Mexico does not have a policy. They don't have a situation where, well, you can't come, but you can come. You can't come, but you can come. They have money to make. They have a budget. They have got to make their money, right? So what I would say, and perhaps Clyde, you can chime in, but we as non-Power 5 schools have to pick our spots, and we have to pick our spots very, very carefully, right? And so for instance, if I'm thinking about anyone that could possibly make it to nationals, I want to give them a shot to get on the runway or get on the track where they're going to go to nationals, right? And that is a roll of the dice, because I really don't know who's going to be there this weekend. So that is what I'm getting at. There is a difference between just getting on a track and just assuming it's a fast track. And it's another thing where, hey, we're going to Clemson and we're going to line up with 5 of the top 10 schools in the country.
Mhm.
And either you are going to prove yourself or you are going to get your ass handed to you, right? There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. So that was really what I was getting at when I started the conversation. And there is no way to fix that. I don't think there's any way. It's like this. How many sprinters have a chance in hell at the national meet if they're not part of a 4x1? 100-meter sprinters.
Mhm.
How many sprinters have actually broken through and gotten into the finals without having that 4x1 to kickstart their systems? There are certain things the way it's set up, and it's no fault of anyone's. It's just, this is what it is, right? If you show up to nationals with a 4x1 that is competent, you go out and run that race, and you have that race in your legs and you got to run again in 45 minutes, oh, you are going to fly, right? And that is what we have to deal with. So that was all I was saying. We can say it's rigged, we can say whatever, but that's just what it is.
Yeah, I wouldn't go. I mean, I wouldn't go as far as say it's rigged. It's just like I said.
No. I'm not saying that either.
It's a haves versus have-nots. The one thing
100%.
the one thing I appreciate about the New Mexico situation and in the pantheon of my career,
Mhm.
whether I was a D2 or mid-major D1 or major D1, New Mexico has always been gracious with,
Absolutely.
yeah, y'all can come. Now maybe that's because I have good relations there,
Mhm.
but they seem to be that way across the board. The difference now is 2-3 years ago, you may get an opportunity to go race in New Mexico, and Nationals has been in New Mexico in the past, but that track wasn't fast. It was low.
Exactly.
It was
Yeah.
skinny. The
Yep.
lanes were skinny. Sure, that's where the meet is, but you wasn't going to roll in there to get there.
Yeah.
The new configuration is top 5 elite.
Okay.
And you will see people qualifying for NCAAs on that track.
Yeah.
It's literally in the same ballpark with your Clemson and your Texas Tech and your South Carolina and your Arkansas.
Mm.
So that's dope and that's exciting. And, like I said, Joe and the crew down in New Mexico do a great job with those events. Don Kirby is usually the biggest meet of the year,
Right.
given year. And, for us, mid-major and whatnot, but New Mexico is also in our conference. So we don't ever have a problem getting in there. How it works for other people, I'm not really sure. But at the other major places, for at least 10 years, people have been getting locked out of these buildings. like it's just what it is. They don't even try to hide it. It's like, yeah, nah, we're good. And you know, it's really, I mean, depending on where you're sitting, right? Like it's entertaining, like it's funny, right? But it's also, you know, quite discouraging when you have somebody, you know, if you're a small school, you may only have 1 or 2 bullets you could actually fire, right?
Say it with your chest, Clyde.
And that's
how many times have you heard, well, you have to bring your squad.
Yep.
You have to bring your
absolutely.
whole squad.
I mean,
I've got 3.
this goes back, you know,
I've got
it's
3. I don't
not a
have...
2 in the right. We ain't got 14. We ain't got that.
Exactly.
This takes me back to Alabama State, you know, whatever year that was, 2017 maybe? No, 2018. No. See, I know this is actually 2019 when Nationals was in Austin, Texas.
Right.
I had a long jump kid, Jamie Brown, who qualified for indoor nationals. Now, I'm telling you right now, that was amazing because top 16 is ridiculously hard to do.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
At Alabama State, we don't have the resources to travel all over the place. So 90% of the time, we're driving 1 hour up the street and we're competing in Birmingham, which is where Nationals was.
Okay.
Birmingham's a terrible place to jump.
Hard.
It's awful.
Yes.
We qualified because we were able to go to Kentucky, and Kentucky's not an elite place to run, but they have those elevated runways.
Right.
He got on the elevated runway, got himself into the meet.
Right.
Without that trip, that wasn't gonna happen. It just wasn't. And that's, you know, the horizontal jump places are not exactly, you know, Arkansas qualifies across the board, right?
Right.
Clemson, good place across the board.
Yeah.
Now, the new track, New Mexico is an elite place to jump. And now they have the track. So there's pockets like that, right? But very rarely do you have a facility that just works for everybody. And that's, like I said, you know, distance people, they make sure they get themselves up to Boston.
Oh, yeah. And they're making the calls to each other saying, hey, where are you going to be?
Oh, yeah, no. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. They're going to set that up. Like, where do we go? Where do we all show it up?
Yeah,
absolutely.
They will go to UW. They will go to Boston. They will go to, when Martin was at Iowa State, they would go wherever they make the calls.
Exactly.
Who's rabbiting? What's the pace? Bang, 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 bang.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I will say one thing I found interesting from this weekend was that 2 young men from Rutgers jumped 789 and 788 in week 1 at the Armory of all places.
Yep.
Which was extremely impressive because the Armory.
I mean, that's not
a place to jump.
It's not a great place to jump. It is where the collegiate record was set, but Miguel Pate's not from this planet.
Right.
So, yeah, I was impressed with that because, like, they're getting in.
Oh yeah.
But to the governor's point, even right now after week 1, there are three males currently in top 16 positions, not at a Power 5 school. Because Rutgers is a Power 5 school.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, they don't have a Power 5 facility or any of that stuff, but it is a Power 5 school.
Power 5 school.
And I will always say this because it absolutely used to happen outdoors, especially in the field events. When you have this descending order list, and I'm not at all suggesting that Rutgers did anything untoward, but when you know it's a descending order list, it's not that difficult to host a meet and make sure your marks are awesome. It's just not. And that's the beauty of the outdoor program, which is all that's cool. But at the end of the day, you got to line up and beat people to go through.
Yeah.
Clyde, Lamar and I could tell you where those spots were.
Oh, I know.
I mean,
I'm just saying.
This is back when UTEP, indoor and outdoor, you needed a last chance meet. Oh my goodness. Almost guaranteed. Okay. So
I'm not going to say the school because
all year.
I'm not going to say the school, but you all know what school I'm going to say. They used to have a last chance meet every year. And if you wanted to qualify for nationals, you had to be athletes from that school because
Yep.
they were going.
Oh,
As
look,
long
look.
as you finished ahead of them,
Say
you
less.
would also be
Say
going.
less.
Hey, at South Carolina,
Listen, it was a fact. They were going.
hey, at South Carolina, we ain't really they have a beautiful indoor facility now, right?
You're right.
But back when I was in school, we had the bubble.
Y'all
Now,
had
you
the-
couldn't
y'all
run
had the
any
tin-
real.
y'all had the tin can.
No, yeah, you couldn't really run any races in the bubble except the 55 and the 55 hurdles, which, by
Right.
the way, the conversion for those were stupid.
Stupid.
Yeah.
But
Yes.
please believe,
Yes.
if we was going to run the 55 or the 55 hurdles at the end of the year, we was getting in. We was going to get in.
Oh gosh. Oh my god.
Oh, listen, the O'Connell Center at the end of the year with the 200-meter circle and the 55-meter dash. Facts.
Oh,
He was
my
in.
goodness. Oh, love it.
Jeez. Well, we will once again see how this plays out,
Yep.
and we will circle back once again. So,
Yep.
all right, talking about marks and descending orders and whatnot. It was said, so it's not speculation, it's not conversation, it's not hearsay. It was put out there in the ether for people to see, hear, absorb. That World Athletics, the leading marks, would ultimately be missing a big chunk of marks, and those marks would be from the NCAA, because the only marks that they were going to be ranking were going to be their global tour events. It's in the air. Swing away.
Mm.
You know, I'll go just because I know these two are going to be way better. It's just bullshit. Like,
I mean, listen, for once, being like succinct and crass is probably like spot on.
I mean, listen, like what are we doing here? I could almost, I wouldn't, but I could almost, if I felt like being petty, make an argument that if World Athletics wants to say, for our world rankings, we will only consider marks done on our tour. Okay, cool. It's a little weird, it's a little highbrow, it's a little, but okay. They're just ignoring marks. Like, we're talking about the list. You're telling me if I go on World Athletics right now and look up the world leader in the men's 60, we're ignoring races that actually happened in reality. So we just lying now. So the list is now just.
Oh, man.
And so I asked off camera because I legitimately wanted to know. People forget the best place to go get the list forever was allathletics.com.
Yeah.
Well, IAAF at the time, now World Athletics, co-opted that whole system. And that system is the back end to what you see now. So if All Athletics doesn't exist anymore, where the hell am I supposed to go to find the world list, the actual world list? Since World Athletics has decided they're going to lie to me. Like, what are we doing?
It's the World Athletics world.
We now have found the next moneymaker. Athletics LLC will come up with the list.
I mean, listen, we could without question put up the list.
The list.
And it would be spectacular. Governor, you have so much more taste and
Tact.
less vitriol. So I'm going to go second and let you close with some calmness. I am choosing violence. I've been adamant for a season and a half that World Athletics is corrupt and fugazi, and they want it their way, and they're either we're going to play the game they want to play, or they're going to take their ball and go home. That's where we're at, right? Like, they have strange and non-concrete policies as to how meets get on the World Athletics Tour. That smells like shady to me.
Mm-hmm.
you can only get paid from the shoe companies who are all in cahoots with World Athletics and the meets and the agents. You can only get paid based on your World Athletics world ranking.
Mm-hmm.
Your world ranking can only become from marks that you have done at World Athletics Tour meets.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're a collegian, international or American, and at the NCAA final, you're as a female, you run 2160.
Mm-hmm.
You're not even qualified for world championships. Because as far as World Athletics is concerned, that meet didn't even happen.
Yep.
So you darn sure are not ever going to get your World Athletics world ranking based on your actual performance, because it didn't happen. I didn't think they could get any worse than that. That is where we left them off at the end of last season. For those who haven't followed every week, I went on this diatribe after the combined events tour to let the world know that this was coming, right? That's where we left them. They said, Sebco said, hold my beer. I got one more for you. I'm not even going to dignify my eyeballs with looking at marks that have not happened in meets that I have sanctioned. So now we're going to literally act like a whole ass part of the world doesn't exist. If you don't run a 60 in Europe, it doesn't count.
Right.
That's basically where we're at, right? Other than what, Milrose?
No, and there's the Iowa State meet. It's the ATL meet.
So there you go.
Or Iowa, maybe, or whatever it is.
If you don't run at one of those two meets, your 60 this year is, if it's on US soil, it's null and void. We don't care. You might as well be racing on the street with your shoes off. As far as World Athletics is concerned. And I'm just like, listen, I've said multiple times on this show, the world would be such a better place if the governing bodies would just agree to agree. Like the NCAA has never gotten into a pissing match with World Athletics, but World Athletics has constantly been in a fight with the NCAA.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
The US hasn't been in a fight with Europe in a really long time, but Europe is constantly in a fight with the US and how we do track meets and what happens over here. And it's just wild to me, to where we finally have gotten to the point of this level of disrespect. We are not even going to list performances
Yep.
that happen over there. We sanction these two meets. We sprinkle a little sanction dust on these two meets. If it didn't happen in these two meets, it's like the tree falling in the forest. If nobody heard it, it didn't happen.
Mm-hmm.
And look, I cannot with this concept and this nonsense, because I'm going to ask a stupid question. If you break
No.
if Christian Coleman, I'm gonna be specific. Christian Coleman broke the world record at Clemson before in the 60.
Yes.
Yes.
So if that were to happen again now, track certified, ratified, and you do drug testing, right? If he meets those criteria and sets a world record, World Athletics isn't going to list that as a mark on their list?
No.
Oh, okay.
And for the record, last I checked, Makai Williams is still racing at the University of Oregon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if he's going to end the year world number one or not, but I know none of his marks are going to be on the list.
They have the world list leader at 660, and 8 collegians ran faster than that this weekend.
Yes.
So, but like I said, you can break a world record, have it ratified by World Athletics, but not have it be on the list. Okay, that makes perfect sense in a sport that's struggling for fan base. Absolutely.
So I have had to go back to try and find how they are doing this. So on the 21st of January, the American Track League has a meet at Iowa.
There you go.
And that is it is actually on the World Athletics indoor,
Mhm.
right? And I'm trying to find anything before that, and there's nothing.
Mm-mm. Nothing.
It's
It's
just
that
that,
one
and
and
I
then
think it's
Melrose.
just that and Milrose. That's it.
So
Sprinkle some dust on
Yes.
them 2 meets.
So here's the issue, okay? There are not enough track meets for a professional athlete to go run at week in, week out. There aren't enough meets.
Yes, there are in Europe where track is supposed to happen.
Okay,
Tell me I'm wrong.
accessible. Let's just say,
Do
All
you
right.
think that World
Readily
Athletics
accessible.
cares about accessibility to Americans?
well,
Not at all.
in today's age, what are we witnessing? What is happening right in front of us? We're witnessing the European Championships being trumping
Mhm.
the World Championships.
Mhm.
We're witnessing a movement, and it's almost like it's happening in plain sight, and they're just kind of hoping, oh, yeah, well, you're not going to notice this, but it is obvious and it is clear, right? And back when we were competing, Lamar, I mean, it was pretty. You kind of got the sense, and whether he's your agent or somebody on the circuit, they would say to you, okay, so yes, good job, you did what you did at nationals, but they want to see you do that over there,
Yep.
right? And so you kind of knew that you had to go prove yourself. Well, it was so much easier when there were 3 meets in a week, and you could go over there and run 6 competitions in 2 to 3 weeks and come back and pay your rent, take your girl out for a date. It was good, right? It is no
Mhm.
longer the case. It is no longer the case. And it's, I don't know, there's no way that I see this changing, because I think that we are in a situation now where world athletics is 100% Eurocentric, and they couldn't care less.
Nope.
They couldn't
Not at
care.
all.
So, fellas, help me. We have to be missing something here. There has to be another layer to this, because I'm looking at the women's list
Mhm.
right now for the
I
60-meter dash.
I saw
and
it as well, Clyde.
some lady that I don't know and can't pronounce. Apparently, the world number 1 right now is 7:23 in the women's 60 dash. Now, I know I watched a 400 run 7:1 in college last week, and there was a lot of other people that was faster than that. But here's the thing, though. Okay, so and I'm just picking on 2 names that I recognize.
Mhm.
Toria Pero, who used to be at Georgia, is now at Kentucky, is on the World Athletic list, tied at number 9 at 7:29 from a meet that was run in Louisville in December.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And
Commonwealth.
Samara Killebrew is tied for the same 7:29. Used to be at Florida. I forgot where she is now.
A&M.
And
At a meet that was run at Tyson in
Mhm.
Arkansas.
In Arkansas, yeah.
But there's a
last weekend.
whole ton of other collegiate marks that are not on here.
Yeah.
That is
So
correct.
what am I missing here?
I don't know. I really don't know.
I know that the world number one is not 723. I know that is a fact.
Mhm.
But I just, this is weird. It's really weird. It's really, really weird.
When you start making up the rules as you go, which is what World Athletics has been doing almost since we started this show. Like episode 2 or 3 is when we first started talking about Sebco and World Athletics making up rules as they go, because that's about when they got rid of the triple jump out of the Diamond League.
Mhm.
Right. So it was early on. Look, I feel like Sebco has been given a marching orders to make track look a certain way. Does that make sense?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
And I think he is marching along to the beat of those very specific instructions, because at this point we have no choice but to accept the fact that the sport is intentionally Euro-centered,
Mhm.
and it is intentionally Euro dominated by ways of where you have to go to perform.
Yep.
Right. And so what that is done is to intentionally level the playing field for the European athletes. And if we go all the way back to, I think, episode 2, I started talking about the whole reason why there was greater drug usage in Europe was because there was less race mixing and yada, yada, yada. Remember this whole conversation? Mm-hmm. This is what it is, right? Like at the end of the day, like we're not getting beat. This goes back to like when the NBA wasn't allowing Black players. Mm-hmm. Right? Not because we're just going to ignore the fact that they can really play. Y'all can play in the ABA, but if it didn't happen in the NBA, it don't count. Mm-hmm. Right? Like
so,
that's where we're at.
So the Arkansas Invitational is on the list.
There you go.
Well, so okay. So all I know is that last year in the men's 60, 5 of the top 10 marks in the world were set by collegiates at collegiate meets. So if you're going to tell me that you're kicking them dudes out and we're going to pretend that it's a different top 10 than it is because they're not on the list, how do you get on the list?
Well, it's what I'm seeing here is that it's pretty clear where you have to go.
Yes.
It is pretty specific now that you have to go to certain places. So if you are someone that decided that you're just going to compete in the US, you have to go on that list and find the Arkansas Invitational, and you have to get yourself there. And
you got to get into that meet at Iowa
and you
somehow.
have to get into the meet. Yes.
And we all know you're not getting in Milrose because that field was set
exactly
at World Championships.
Right. It's interesting. I
chestnut checkers.
Yeah.
Look, the combined events challenges. I tried to bring this to light then because I said the only reason you would put in a rule where multiple championship events can't be used for your world rankings is because you don't want other area championships to have anywhere near the clout that European Championships does.
Yep.
That is the only reason you would ever do that, because people in Europe will choose to go to European Championships instead of World Championships.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But if you're from the Caribbean, you can't choose to not go to NACAC.
Yeah.
Your country's funding depends on it.
Yep.
Right? Like, look, here, let me break this to the rest of our following. Pan Am Games are in November.
Yes. In Chile.
November.
Yes.
In Chile. And guess what?
The year before the Olympics.
Yes. Let's be clear.
Not even
it's
a year.
It's in the Olympic
It's within
cycle,
the 12 months. Yeah.
Right? When you coach 2 Caribbean athletes, I can bark and say all the wonderful things that I want to, and Coach Chu can chime in and say all the wonderful things that she wants to about how little sense it makes. You want to know what? There's a 90-something% chance that I'm going to be in friggin' Chile in November because their funding comes from the meets.
Yes.
Mhm.
Mhm.
But if having gone to world championships, here's what I'm telling you. What they do at NACAC is irrelevant to world athletics because it is a second championship and you can't even use those marks.
Yeah.
So listen, they're not even veiled anymore.
No.
They don't care.
No. They don't.
Track is our sport and we are European. That's it. That's where it is. And if you don't have an agent that gets that, you shouldn't do pro track.
No, you should go get a new agent.
So how many athletes knew that Arkansas Invitational was on the list?
So
That's
I'll
what-
say this. I'll say this. Having been there last week, there were quite a few American, I air quote American athletes because they were literally labeled as USA athletes.
Yes.
Okay.
So there was intent, right? I'll say Ryan Krauser, he was in the stands.
Mm.
Tara Davis and Hunter Wood. Well, Hunter ran. Tara was in the stands.
Mm-hmm.
They rabbited a few of the distance races. I want to say there was a jumper or two. So I mean, there was presence. There was
Okay.
presence, but I'm not sure if it was a common knowledge presence. If you
Right.
know what I mean.
Right.
Like those who knew and those who didn't.
But I mean, but all those people are based in Arkansas right now.
Mm-hmm.
For the most part, it was a large conglomerate of Arkansasians, sure, whatever. But what I'm saying is like, it was deliberate.
Mm.
And so I'm not sure, like we're saying, you have to do some research, right? And maybe only the certain people that they wanted to know knew. Because there wasn't a big showing of the athletes of a nation.
Right.
There was a showing, but there
Yeah.
wasn't a huge, whatever.
Interesting.
So, and I mean, I guess if you think about it, the Louisville meet in December, it's literally called the Commonwealth Invite.
Okay.
So that makes sense. Not make sense, but maybe it makes sense. I don't know.
They're
Well,
making
well-
it make sense.
Yeah, and the more I think we echo these sentiments and at least get the viewing public to understand that the rules are changing, they have changed. You have to adapt immediately. I mean,
Mhm.
no ifs, ands, or about it.
You're gonna get left out, literally left out.
Yeah.
So, well, take that one to the coffee table and discuss with your friends. But now it's what the show's all about. Would you rather? And that's better. So, Mr. Rivera, you are would you rather in tonight? I was gonna say adjust it, get ready.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I knew that it was my turn, and I have looked forward to this all day.
Okay,
Yeah.
just kidding. All
I'm
right.
actually
You
kind
ready?
of excited. Now watch you give me some lame, watch I get the Fugazi questions now because first world problems isn't on the show tonight.
All right. Are you ready?
Yeah, Clyde, are you okay? Let's just check and make sure you hadn't slumped over. Just checking. on you.
Flashbacks to pandemic.
Yes, ma'am.
Um,
I am ready. I'm fired up.
Would you rather, so in opposition of the theme of the show, would you rather play indoor baseball or outdoor baseball? Because indoor baseball is a thing if you don't know that.
Definitely outdoor baseball.
Got it. Would you rather would you rather take notes via voice memo or a typed note?
Probably say voice memo. I'm not the greatest of typer.
Got it. Would
I
you
think you knew that though.
would you have rather, when competing, wore compression shorts or running shorts?
Oh my God. Okay. In every event except the 1500, compression shorts. Oh my God. I cannot even imagine running around in running shorts and like running fast. Somebody on this show, however.
Oh, I love it. All right. Would you rather be
The
hungry?
year I got I switched because I kept losing distance on my jumps. If you knew the amount of messages and phone call, you can't get rid of the shorts. No, you can't.
Yes, but they were all females.
That's funny. That's funny.
Anyway, keep going.
Would you rather be hungry or thirsty?
Oh,
Hmm.
I think I would definitely rather be hungry.
Yeah. Would you rather sit in a beanbag chair or a papasan? And a papasan's that disc chair that has a little padding in
Beanbag
it.
chair. Have owned both. Beanbag chair. Much better to sit in. Much more difficult to get out of, though.
This is very true.
Like both of those things are definitely true.
Would you rather eat bacon or sausage?
Listen, if you find a person that says something other than bacon, throat punch them.
They're
What
lying.
if they don't eat pork?
Of course it is. Of course it would be this guy.
That's funny.
Yeah.
I guess they could be alternative meats.
Listen,
for
I
the
love them
show.
both. Let's be clear. But bacon is a superior product.
All right, gentlemen, the floor is yours for would you rather.
I would definitely take my maple brown sugar sausage over bacon any day.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Would you rather watch the Giants win this weekend or the Cowboys lose?
Ooh, good one. Good
Oh, that's a great
one.
question.
So it actually would be a great question, except for this. Given that scenario, that means that those two things are linked upon each other. So if I watch the Giants win, that means that the Cowboys would also then win, and I would then get to watch the Cowboys lose to the Giants when it most mattered. So in this particular case, the answer is easy for me. I would definitely rather watch the Giants win. I am actually bored by watching the Cowboys lose at this point. It has happened many times in my lifetime.
So let's go back to my picks. There's a reason why I want the Cowboys and the Giants to meet. There's a reason.
Oh, I bet there is.
So anyway, Lamar,
Yes,
would
sir.
you rather play Kobe to a game of 1-on-1 to 5 or Michael Jordan?
Okay. I'm assuming that Kobe's still alive.
Yes, of course.
I'm just checking. I didn't know if I had to die to play this game.
No.
Angels in the outfield? What are you doing?
Okay, so play Kobe to a game to 5 or play MJ to a game to 5?
MJ.
Oh my God. Well, let's be clear. The outcome is going to be the same. So I would rather be able to tell people that I played MJ
Okay.
than I played Kobe.
Kobe just
Both would be
all-
amazing. And by the way, I'm scoring at least one bucket.
All Kobe gonna do is the same moves with just slightly less skill.
Oh my goodness.
Again, I'm gonna score one bucket.
I mean, Jordan will just jab step you to death and just Raise
I mean, the outcome is going to be the same.
Just how quick is the game gonna go?
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Well, awesome. Wrapping it up, as always, we will give some heartbeat props out to those in the audience in the ether for them to maybe hear, maybe not hear, as we lift them up and praise them.
I'm going to start. My heartbeat props go out to my grandmother, 96 years old. She passed away earlier this week. Yeah, that's it. She's going to be missed.
Condolences.
Thank you.
100%. I'm going to lighten the mood a little.
Sorry.
I think somebody on this panel is going to start laughing in just a moment. So my mother has raised a pretty good athlete and has grandchildren that are pretty darn good athletes. But my mother's not into sports at all. But she asked me what she needed. She's been asking me what she needed to do exercise-wise for, I don't know, almost 2 decades. So finally, we have struck an accord, and I said, you need to walk. I don't care how you do it, but you need to walk, right? And she's like, I can't walk that far. I was like, listen, you're trying to eat the elephant all at once. Just eat it one forkful at a time. So I said this at the time, I didn't know, but stroke of genius, walk a mile, but just walk till you're tired and then rest the same amount and then do it that way, right? So I was like, here, walk a lap, then sit down, the amount of time it takes you to walk that lap and do it that way, right? Mm-hmm. I was like, and hopefully one day you'll be able to get to a mile, right? Now, we all know that like her heart rate's not going to be high enough from that 1 mile to do anything, but it's the right steps in the right area, right? A week ago, like the day after we recorded, I get a text message from my mother that says, and I quote, there's a new miler in town.
That's so cute.
And so now she has taken to referring to herself as the miler.
The miler.
You have to get her a Mile High Club.
So, oh my, I'm gonna throw up.
Wow. Wow.
Damn. So, I mean, shows violence for sure right there.
Oh,
right?
Goodness.
So, long story short, my mom has now walked 3 miles in a week. And I find the greatest amount of joy that she is so proud of herself. That's that awesome. I have to be proud of her, because today she sent me a text message and said, and I quote, the miler has struck again. Like she's some sort of wet bandit or whatever. But you know what? Listen, I've been asking for her to exercise. She is doing so. Yeah. So my heartbeat props go out to the miler.
The miler.
That's cute.
Oh.
That's hilarious.
Especially if you know my mom. Oh man.
I guess my heartbeat props this week honestly go out to my administration here at San Jose State. Jeff Konya, my AD, and Kristen Kelly, our director of compliance and my sports supervisor. Like I said, we are in Annapolis, Maryland, and we're going to be competing at the U.S. Naval Academy this weekend. But the larger, more important point of this trip is that we're taking the entire team to the African American History and Culture Museum in Washington, D.C. on Sunday. And stuff like that is dope, and it really can't happen without the backing of your administration. Not only did they allow us to do it, but they are actually here with us on the trip. And
That's awesome.
Yeah, it is. And anybody in the track world knows that an AD showing up for a regular season out of state track meet is a rare to no occasion. So, you know, we
Yes.
appreciate the support very much. And hopefully, you know, we'll put on a good show out here on the East Coast. And, you know, it was a long travel day. Thanks, Southwest. But we
Best
made
airline there is, buddy.
we made it, and you know, we're here a little bit early, so we gotta, you know, look some time to get our bearings together before the competition. But no, I really do appreciate their support, and it means a ton to me, my staff, and to our team. And like I said, we are not a first world problems type of university. So, you know, moments like this and opportunities like this go a long way, and I appreciate it.
Awesome. Have
That
fun.
is awesome.
Last RP prop of the night, go to a former athlete who was just named the head coach of the football team of which he went to school with. He's an alumni at the high school, I'm sorry. So Virgil Hart was just named the head varsity high school football coach at Hayward High. Super excited because it's come full circle, and he's wanted to coach since he got out of high school, even out of college. So super fun and super excited for that. And welcome to the world, sir. How you can live the high life with us.
Mhm.
So you can eat it all with us.
Mm-hmm.
So I've already heard some fun stories, and I'm just laughing and giggling and remembering what he put us through. So all good times. So with that being said, those who are traveling this weekend, travel safe. Those like Clyde and his team, I'm glad you got there safe, get home safe, enjoy the time. And other than that, we'll see each other next week. Bye, everyone.